Welcome to the Talking Book Voices, the podcast. Get ready to embark on the adventure with us as we dive into and celebrate the magic of the Texas Talking Book program. Let's raise our voices together and make the world of literature accessible for all. The Texas Talking Book program is a division of the State Librarian Archives Commission and serves as a regional library for the National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, a division of the Library of Congress. The Talking Book program provides specialized library services to individuals who have a qualifying visual, physical, or reading disability, such as dyslexia. In each episode of the Talking Book Voices, we'll delve into the heart of the program, uncovering its history, sharing inspiring stories, and exploring the vast collection of materials it has to offer. We'll bring you the latest updates, interviews with program experts and patrons, and useful tips to make the most of this invaluable program for Texans and beyond. So whether you're an avid reader, someone who with a print disability seeking accessible materials, or just curious to learn about this great program, this podcast is made for you. Don't forget to visit us at www.texastalkingbooks.org for more information. So let's begin the Texas Talking Book Voices, a podcast by the Texas State Librarian Archives Commission.
Hi, podcast listeners. My name is Alicia, and I have been an engagement specialist for TBP for almost a year now.
And my name is Aly. I'm a reference librarian from TSLAC's Archives and Information Services Division, which we call ARIS for short.
Thank you so much for joining me to talk about how ARIS supports genealogy research in Texas, Aly. I heard you're also going to share tips for how listeners can trace their roots, and you'll highlight the tools that can help make archival materials more accessible.
That's right. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's jump right in. Can you start by telling us what the Archives and Information Services Division, or ARIS, does at the Texas State Library and Archives Commission?
Well, we maintain and provide access to archival records such as state agency holdings, photographs, artifacts. We provide access to a genealogy collection and resources, as well as books on Texas history and other Texas subjects. We also serve as a depository program for state agency and federal government documents and reports. Plus, we offer interlibrary loan services to request materials from around Texas and the U.S.
Wow, that's a lot of services. What kinds of genealogy or family history materials can people find in the ARIS collections?
We have all sorts. They can vary from published family histories for Texas and nearby states to early 1800s Spanish and Mexican government records, Civil War and Spanish War military rolls, to indexes of birth, marriage, death, and divorce, records going all the way up through 2010. We also have plenty of online sources and books to help new genealogists get started, not to mention online searches you can use for free, like historical newspapers, Ancestry, and Family Search.
Wow. You mentioned that resources can be as recent as 2010, but how far back do your records go? Are there resources that cover the early days of Texas history?
Absolutely. We even have records that go back into the early 1800s, sometimes even 1700s, way pre-Republic. A great place to start for early names and dates are our research guides for Republic and pre-Republic resources, and our Mexican-American genealogy guide, which both have a ton of resources.
So, for someone who's never done family history research before, what's a good place to start at ARIS in general?
Well, a great place is with a reference librarian or on our genealogy resources guide. The link to that's on our homepage. But it really depends on what you're looking for. If you have a specific person or family in mind, we have newspapers, county, school, we have cemetery listings, publications, family name genealogy compilations, and more. If we don't have it, we probably know where you can look for it. If you aren't sure about more than a name and you want to search for a lot at once, our public computers also have affiliate access to Family Search and free Ancestry Library Edition, which make for a really great start.
You interact with lots of patrons every day. So I'm curious, what kinds of questions do people usually ask when they contact ARIS for help with genealogy?
It definitely varies person to person. Sometimes it's for something really, really specific, like a grandparent's name so they can put it on a request form for a birth or a death certificate. Other times, it's a little bit of a wider range, such as looking for any connection to a specific person as part of an application process for groups like Daughters of Texas Revolution or Daughters of the American Revolution.
I'd love to go over some specific tips for doing genealogy research. So my first question is, what are some common mistakes people make when they first start researching their family history?
Sometimes people get worried about doing it the right way, so they don't start. It's okay to make mistakes. It's part of the family history process, and it helps you learn. Second, names might not be what you thought. Lots of folks go by a nickname their whole life, and the name you grew up calling someone may not match what's on their birth certificate. And on that note, spelling didn't always used to be standardized. Someone might have a name or a town spelled in 3 or even more ways on legal documents from the 1800s. Fourth, sometimes people will ask for everything you have on file from a specific person. We definitely wish it was that easy. What we can do is we can share resources to help check for information by name, date, location, or any other category you're looking for.
Do you have any favorite tips or tricks that help people find information more easily, especially when they hit a dead end?
The first thing that I suggest is for people to think outside the box. How would your ancestor have interacted with the government? What taxes or certificates, liens, applications, or court actions might there be a record from? Sometimes taking an indirect route can help reconstruct what a life might have looked like when those records are either missing or, unfortunately in some cases, destroyed in fires along the way. If you know the name of a sister, a brother, an aunt, or an uncle, you can start sideways, read between the lines a little bit, and fill in details from there. Another tip is think about where the closest county courthouse was. The further back you go, transportation got a little bit more difficult, so sometimes, if the official county courthouse was further away than the one next door, sometimes people went to the closest one instead. And lastly, did you know that not all family search records are indexed? A name might not show up in a search, but it might still be in the scanned images. Reference staff can help you find those records to look through names.
That makes total sense, especially the tip you mentioned about the location of the nearest courthouse. How can someone use online tools like Ancestry.com or Family Search together with ARIS resources?
Well, Ancestry is available on site from our public computers or on your own personal device using our free guest Wi-Fi. There's also Ancestry Texas, which is a free service for Texas residents, which has some access to some Texas-specific databases. If you get started finding a name, date, or location on Ancestry, we can then use that to search print indexes and find county genealogy publications or cemetery listings held at TSLAC from there. TSLAC is also a family search affiliate, so some digitized images show up here that you wouldn't see if you logged in from home.
Wow, that really is a hack. I'm so curious. What's one of your favorite or most interesting discoveries that someone has made while using your genealogy collections?
Some of my favorite patron experiences have been when you see someone just light up because of a discovery. It really all comes to life and brings the history to the present when a patron finds the record they're looking for, especially if it links to something like a photograph or even their ancestors' handwriting. We'll find individuals who will find their great-great-grandfather's signature on a pension record, and it just brings it all forward into the here and now.
Yeah, I can imagine seeing the handwriting of someone who is part of your ancestry would be almost an emotional experience. Well, I'd like to talk more about accessibility and print disabilities because many of our listeners have print disabilities, and that's who the Talking Book program serves. So, how does ARIS help make genealogy resources more accessible for those who are unable to read standard print materials?
So we have a few different tools. Firstly, we do have JAWS as a screen reader software available on a laptop we can bring out, as well as one of our public desktop PCs. There's also a Pearl scanner we have They can be used with the programs Open Book and JAWS to read a book's pages that are placed under that scanner. We offer headphones to listen to the audio right there in the reading room. The Digital Archive has millions of digitized photos, documents, and audio files from our collections that can also be accessed from a home computer with your own resources.
But many old records are handwritten or scanned. What tools or technology can help people who can't easily read that small or handwritten text?
So there's a few options. Our Pearl scanner lets you zoom in close on a page and view the text on the screen. You can then zoom in even further on the screen itself. The program Open Book can also run OCR, or optical character recognition, to transcribe that text, although the accuracy may vary a little bit with different handwriting. We also on site have a drawer full of different strength magnifying glasses available for use by patrons.
It's amazing that so many different technologies exist to help make genealogy more accessible. Are any of your genealogy materials available in Braille, large print, or audio formats?
While print sizes may vary from item to item, we're unfortunately pretty limited on our Braille holdings, largely due to many of the items being either self-published or very small print runs. That said, if you have time to listen on site, the Pearl Scanner laptop has Open Book and JAWS, which can scan and then read text out loud from a page. Another great workaround for English materials is using our ScanX scanners to scan pages and then export them as MP3s, in which the file gets read aloud. You can also use that to translate to different languages as a Word document, which could be used in conjunction with JAWS. You can send scanned files straight to your phone, Google Drive, Flash Drive, or email, and we're always looking for new ways to cooperate with TBP and really improve access to our features.
Well, speaking of which, are there any new projects or future plans that you have to improve accessibility, such as making digital collections easier to search or more screen reader friendly?
Absolutely. We're always expanding our metadata behind the scenes and descriptions for images on the digital archive to help improve access with a screen reader. New search tools are coming all the time, and accessibility features like transcriptions make resources more usable by everyone. Family Search now also has an improved full-text search with handwriting recognition and OCR software that converts an image of text into machine-readable text.
Wow, technology is truly amazing these days. I am so excited to hear that there are so many options for those with print disabilities. What's the best way for someone with a print disability to ask for help if they want to do genealogy research at ARIS?
There's a couple great ways to start. First things first, if you call us, reference staff can provide some limited guidance to online resources over the phone. If you email, staff respond to emails regularly with a bit more in-depth about recommended resources. We can also respond to an email with a phone call instead of another email if you'd like. Of course, in-person visits give us the most opportunity to facilitate access to materials that haven't been digitized, to use on-site scanning tools, or to help narrow down where to look for answers to patrons' questions. You're also more than welcome to bring a friend, family member, or assistant to help take down notes or navigate resources recommended by staff.
So, in closing, you've given a ton of great information, but some of our listeners might still be overwhelmed. What advice would you give to Talking Book patrons who want to explore their family history but don't know where to start?
The best thing I can suggest is just to jump right in and get your feet wet. If you're looking for something specific and you don't know where to go, reach out to us and we can help give some starting points to get past some of those daunting steps, especially early on. But if you're wanting to look at the big picture, I'd suggest checking out the Genealogy Resources Guide on our website, which has a lot of great starting points and breaks down what we have in terms of the type of resources for genealogy research.
It sounds really accessible and easier than a lot of people may think. So, you mentioned reaching out to a reference librarian, and if someone wants to learn more about ARIS or get in touch with a reference librarian, what's the very best way to contact you?
There's a few great options. You can reach us at 512-463-5455, Monday through Friday. And if you leave a voicemail with your name and number, we'd be happy to call you back. For more in-depth questions, you may want to email to ref@tsl.texas.gov, and we can send an email response or call back if requested in 7 to 10 business days. And of course, you can always come by in person Tuesday through Friday from 9 to 4:45, and every second Saturday of the month from 9 to 4 to utilize our on-site resources.
Thank you so much, Aly, for all of this amazing information. Is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know about doing genealogy research with ARIS?
The biggest thing, and it's been kind of a theme for some of my answers, is to look at it like a puzzle. There can be a lot to learn about a family, and the best finds can be the most unexpected ones. Resources that index a lot of records in one place, such as Ancestry or Family Search, are a great launch point. But not everything is on a website, and the genealogy books, county inventories, family histories, tax rolls, and more at our library can help fill in the gaps. We're happy to help point you to resources that can help you put those pieces together and see the bigger picture.
It sounds like genealogy research is actually a lot of fun. So that's just about all the time we have. Thank you again to Aly for joining us, and I hope that you enjoyed this exploration of accessible genealogy. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on TBP Voices.